Hello, in this video I'm going to walk you through some deal stage properties and in particular how we calculate the total time that a deal has been in a particular stage, even if it's been in and out of that stage multiple times. So you might think this is pretty easy to calculate. It's actually a little bit tricky, and as part of the video I'm going to show you, well, what you can do and can't do, because there's actually stuff you can't do. And then I'm going to talk kind of as a second part addendum about how AI totally gets it wrong as well. So let me go back a step and let's have a look at our deal pipeline. So this is a real deal. I've just changed the name to redacted just so that you can't tell who the prospect is. And I've just searched on those deals. So that's the only deal showing. Why am I showing you this view? Just so that you can see our deal stages in this particular pipeline: interest, qualified by rep, costing requested, costing sent. Quite often, costing sent is where deals sit for a little while the prospect is considering them and coming back with questions or maybe wanting changes. And so what will often happen, let's say a website project, we give an initial quote, and then they come back, they want some changes. We might push it back to costing requested while we look at that and change it. Then it goes back into costing sent and goes through to the client. Okay, all good so far. So then what I want to know is, well, how long has this deal actually been in this stage in total? And let me walk you through a few properties. So there's a new property called time in current stage. We can see that's been there 33 days. That's the time it's been in the current stage for this particular time. There's actually other properties here, cumulative time in costing sent. And you might think, well, of course, isn't that everything? Well, it's not. It's actually only updated when a deal stage leaves that deal stage. So that property, for example, is when it goes to costing sent, maybe it goes back to costing request, taking too long. When it moves out of the stage, that's the only time that that property is updated. And that's why the cumulative time, 12.9 days, is less than the actual time. Most recently, there's actually a latest time in costing sent, and that's the previous time it was in that stage. So it was 11.7 days the last time. And you might think, well, why? How can we tell this? Let's have a look at this date entered, and you can see here it's actually entered that costing sent a number of times. And so each time it enters and exits. See, the last time it exited was the 23rd of April. That's when it last exited it, even though it's back in that stage now. And so it won't be until it leaves this stage that this cumulative time is updated. So, okay, we're kind of there 80% of the way. We want total is 33, and then it was in there 12.9, let's call that 13. So we can kind of say 33, 13, okay, 46 days in total. But I'd actually like that number on this panel here so I can just see it at a glance. Turns out you can't do that. I'll cut to the chase. You can't do that, but you can put it into a report. And you might be thinking, oh, surely you can use a calculated property to do that, Craig. No, you can't, because a calculated property can't actually use another calculated property. So you can't actually say a calculated property with this one. This time in current stage is actually a calculated property with this one. But one thing that you can do, and I will tell you, I couldn't work this out myself, but Rosalind on our team did, is in a report, you can actually make a formula field to work this out. So let me show you how that works, and then you can actually create a report like this. Again, I've just filtered on redacted just for this video, but you can actually see this sum, the time in costing stage, the total, that's actually based on this formula. And then you can see the two components we looked at before: time and current stage, 33 days, costing sent 12. So that adds up to 40, almost 46 in total, right? Okay, let me show you how that's created. This is a formula field. This is a beta. You might not actually have formula fields in your portal. You can request the beta for that. This actually does a date diff on the day it entered versus now. You can see this here, date entered versus now. That property there, that's a calculation. And that's essentially giving you the same as time in current stage. It's essentially that time in current stage, but we're working it out on the fly in a formula field. And then the second part is, well, the cumulative time. That total cumulative time as well. Now we just divide it by that because this actual time is in milliseconds, just converts it into days. So that's how you can get that into a formula field and you can use it in a report. As far as I know, there's no way you can actually get that 45.87, there's no way you can get that into a calculated property that you can show on your deal itself. Okay, so we finished the first part of this video. I just wanted to talk about that, the different properties on a deal and how you get that total time, because it's come up a couple of times with clients. They want to report on this. They want to actually list their deals by total time it's been in a stage. If they've got a particular stage of a sales process, maybe there's something that they have an internal process to do. They want to show me they want to tell me, I want a report to tell them, show them all the deals ordered by the things that are dragging. I just want to highlight two other things. On the overview, you can have a current score and you get these factors. And this is AI, HubSpot's AI, Breeze AI. It says 22 days in current stage. That's wrong. It's just totally wrong. Okay, so just one thing to think about with AI. It actually gets worse though. Let me jump over to ChatGPT, because when I was trying to figure this out, I was actually asking ChatGPT, and this is 03. Let me go back to another version. We'll go to a 4.0 version. So I gave it the prompt. I want to know how long a deal has been a specific deal stage, even if it has been in the stage previously, then moved in and out. How can I report on this in HubSpot? I won't read all the things that ChatGPT told me. All I can tell you is it couldn't work it out. And it made up all kinds of stuff. For example, create a custom report, use deal history as the data source. That doesn't exist. It's totally made it up. It has a guess at telling you the things to use, which kind of might work, but actually that doesn't work because it's based on exited, which means it doesn't work if it's in the current stage. It talks about workflows and custom properties. It tells you to create a workflow that triggers, and then you use a timestamp. That doesn't work. It's totally made it up. Use third-party tools, best practice, workflow, and custom property. Now, you possibly could do it in a workflow if you were using Operations Hub and you used you used a calculation, Operations Hub calculation. I haven't tried that, but possibly you could do that, although I don't know how you keep triggering the workflow, maybe hourly or something like that. Anyway, it wouldn't quite work. Let's just jump back. Here's another query with ChatGPT. This time we're using 03, a bit of deep reasoning, and we've told it to search the web. So it actually thinks about it for 3 minutes, comes back. It's actually a better response, tells me something about the properties. Notice it doesn't actually know about the latest, this property, time and current stage. Why? Because that's actually been added reasonably recently. It doesn't know about it at this point. And that goes through a whole bunch of stuff. It does actually get it a little bit better, time spent in deal stage. And then it tells me a few things, plus the cumulative time. It tries to get me there. And it does actually let me know that the cumulative time is only updated when it exits that stage. That's the common gotcha. People don't realize that. But in the end, it doesn't get it. See this? It tells me total lifetime seconds in a stage and time in current stage plus date ended current stage for live aging. So it's not quite right, but it's close. Okay, but if you were using ChatGPT, you would not get to the answer. All right, so one other chat about AI. Let's go over. I actually asked HubSpot support about this. I gave them the parameter. I'm trying to calculate the total time a deal has been in a current stage, even when it has been in it multiple times. Then I said, basically, I want to be able to add the two properties, time in current stage and cumulative time in that stage for those deals. I can add them as two separate columns in a report, but I can't seem to combine them into a single total. Can you please advise if this is possible? Fairly straightforward question, although advanced kind of question, I would have thought. Here's the problem with HubSpot support and AI in general. Has a go, and then it tells how these two behave. Well, I don't need to know that. I know that. In fact, surely by my question, you know that I know that. Then it says possible workarounds. Use separate columns in reports. which is ridiculous because I've actually said I can add them as two separate columns in a report, but I don't want to really. So, and then possible workarounds also, custom property, custom code calculation. Well, maybe helpful resources. Anyway, I said, like, this sounds like junk. It actually wasted my time. And so then it comes back, I'm very sorry. It goes in, tries to tell me why they remain separate. Gives me the same solutions, two columns in report. Well, I've already said I can do that. Custom coded workflow. Add the value from time and current stage to the existing cumulative time and update your custom property with the sum. I don't know how you can do that in a custom coded workflow unless it's Ops Hub or something like that. But again, it said use a workflow that triggers once a deal exits the stage. Why would I want to do that? I'd just use cumulative time and stage anyway. Why, so anyway, it doesn't get it right. And in fact, that's wrong. Why would it add the time and current stage to the existing cumulative time and stage name? That's just totally wrong. Cumulative time and stage would be correct if it's exited the stage. So this is actually wrong. So you can imagine someone trying to follow this advice and thinking, oh, I'll do this, and just getting totally down a rabbit hole that's wrong. Anyway, I was really annoyed at this stage. Silly me for complaining with AI, right? Anyway, I go on, anyway, it gets it wrong. Finally, Krishna from HubSpot support joins the chat, and in a couple of interactions, we get to the answer, which is you can't do it. Okay, so that's AI as a problem. So why have I included this at the end? Well, basically, I think some of these use cases where people want to get deal stages working so that they can look at those timings to actually drive business processes. If something's been in a stage for a while and it's been in there a couple of times and that time is increasing, that's very important to get on top of. That's actually kind of a crucial business action to get right. Turns out it's quite hard. What I'd really like is HubSpot just had a property, time in current stage. That should just be called time in current stage this time, and there should be a total time in current stage, which is essentially that plus the cumulative time. Like that would solve it. You'd think that's easy to create yourself, but it turns out it's not. AI gets itself all twisted in knots trying to work out and gets the answer wrong. And so you're left with either chatting with someone that knows HubSpot incredibly well or getting frustrated with the outcome. Anyway, hopefully that helps. And the first part of this should actually get you on the right path. If you actually want details or more about this property, how you create a formula field in your reports, you can reach out and we can chat further. That's it for now. I'll catch you in the next one.